Business process outsourcing, or BPO, is a more common strategy in the knowledge age. To ascertain the viability of outsourcing, the first step is to disaggregate the processes in an organization and assess their criticality.
Don't make the mistake of saying, gee, my competitor's outsourcing, I better go get a broker and outsource, without knowing what your business model is. So often I see people, and a lot of people in the furniture business, who have just gone to a broker or an outside agent and said, I got to go buy stuff in China or Eastern Europe or someplace because I got to be cheaper. That's a mistake. You need to be able to first understand your business model. What is your business model? Understand which one of your products fit on that complexity, speed to market versus cost curve, and then be able to decide, how can I get these manufactured? Where have other people been successful or failed? And how do I assure that my processes control what I'm going to get? There have been numerous cases where manufacturers or importers had to take back millions of dollars of product that failed, either failed on a quality perspective or didn't pass the testing that's required of so many products. And that failure can cost the company more than it can afford. And the retailer then is disappointed in your performance, and so you may have lost a customer at the same time. So you have long-term problems. So understand your business model, understand how to go to market, and then control your own processes.
If you look at any company's operations, you find that there are certain processes that they perform which are absolutely as core to their operations, their products, their markets, their customers. On the other hand, they also perform a lot of functions that, if you look at them closely, they tend to be more ancillary to their business. Accounting is probably the best example of that. An accounting department within a company, that's an essential function. However, it is not necessarily directly core to the products that they're manufacturing or selling. So these processes that are more on the ancillary side are the ones that are typically the ones that are good candidates for BPO first. The concept of disaggregation, I think, is becoming more and more relevant at this point in today's business environment. What it is that companies in general are essentially at this point going away from the old concept of vertical integration. They are moving to take a look at all their operations and disaggregating the operations and taking particularly the non-core competency-oriented operations and moving it and giving it to possibly a business partner, outsourcing it in effect. And this process is leading to companies being more and more disaggregated, in the sense that the companies are becoming essentially, their core operations is what the company is becoming. A good example of that would be an automotive company. Today is the key automotive manufacturer is looking at themselves and saying, we are really more of a marketing entity, maybe a final assembly entity for the car. But everything else, in terms of parts manufacturing or even module manufacturing within a car, is not really is something that they can actually outsource to somebody else and have it brought into their final assembly plant. So, and if you think about it, automotive companies are clearly looking at their role, the primary role, as a marketing entity for their brands. When a company adopts outsourcing, an outsourcing strategy, it also has to consider the fact that when they free up the operations, when they free up the people within the organization who now no longer have to perform those operations that are being done by the business partner, it actually frees up a lot of resources within a company to start to do higher level tasks for the client or the customer. In literally any outsourcing, any example of an outsourced product or market, you see that you can provide. You actually have more people freed up in the company, senior level people, who can start to provide higher level services for the customers. In this knowledge age, if a company is looking at outsourcing as only a strategy to only lower costs, then they are missing half the point. what they have the opportunity with outsourcing is increasing the level of service to their customers, and being able to create newer products and being able to serve newer markets and customers. Those are the opportunities that outsourcing provides, which a company needs to recognize when it's developing its outsourcing strategy. And the knowledge age actually is providing the medium, if you will, to accomplish many of these outsourcing strategies today, because it is because of the newer communication technologies that you're able to work with business partners, no matter where they are located, in a pretty cohesive sense and create some of these high-performing communities that we talked about before. It is partly because of the newer communication technologies that you can do all these things at a pretty low cost and convenience.
Now, Jim Sherbert and UHY advisors Ravi Nair delivered a real-world example of disaggregation, or examining the processes in an organization to determine if they should be or could be moved outside the company for quality, cost, or other reasons. We've created a 4-box chart to help get your mind around these concepts. Here, on the horizontal axis of this chart, is strategic criticality. That's how vital the process is to your core business. For example, Nike's determined that its design and marketing are their core competencies and would most likely not outsource them. But on the vertical axis, we'll plot process transportability, which gauges how hard or easy such processes can be outsourced for your organization. This assessment includes important insights on how mature the process is or how transferable the skills might be.